Check us out. It don't get any closer than that, does it? All right, C237 Taxation. I actually started this class on my last term. It was the last course that I had on my last term. But if you watch the video of me kind of wrapping up my last term, we just kind of pushed that one off until this term. And I'm just now finally getting back to it. So I jumped back into it about 11 days ago, 12 days ago. And it was kind of good because I had already watched like 4 of the cohorts or whatever, and I had a bunch of notes that I'd already gone over, so I really didn't have a whole lot to do with this class. I think there is 6 cohorts, I believe. The lady's name's Ellen, the instructor that does this, and she's pretty awesome. She does a good job of going over all kind of key things that you need to know, or seemingly, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. I guess first and foremost, don't look at the textbook. It's garbage. The McGraw-Hill textbooks just aren't good. If anybody from WGU ever sees this, just get rid of the McGraw-Hill ones. But anyway, so I've read on Reddit, if you go back, try to find information on this class from like a year ago, I guess this class actually used to be 2 separate classes. There used to be a Taxation 1 and a Taxation 2, and they just combined it into one class. But it's not, the actual cohorts are like 2 weeks to a taxable U. So WGU is basically telling you that you should be able to knock this out in 2 weeks. But honestly, you could probably knock it out in a few days if you just really had a large block of time to really devote towards it. Like I said, there's 6 cohorts, and then there's 5 or 6 regular cohorts, and then there's like an hour and a half long review. All the cohorts are around 40 minutes to an hour, but the final one's like an hour and a half, and it's just like a review of all the key things that you should know. Like I said, the instructor's name's Ellen. She does a pretty good job. She's not completely boring to listen to, and she does a pretty good job of wrapping everything up that you should know. So anyway, all I did was watch those cohorts and the review, and then I took the PA, and I actually did pretty well on the PA. I think I was probably like 2 questions off from exemplary. So I was like, well, hell, I'm going to schedule, and I just took that probably like 3 hours ago, so I was like, well, hell, I'm just going to schedule the OA for, 10:30 at night and just knock it out then. I just got done with the OA, and like I showed you, I barely passed. I said before that not all OAs are created equal, because if you go online and see what some people on like Facebook and Reddit say, a lot of people say, oh, it aligns very well. You'll get maybe like a 75% it aligns very well feedback, and like 25% will say, I had questions on there that I've never even seen in the textbooks that Ellen didn't go over at all. And I think I definitely got one of those. There was a bunch of questions on there that I was not prepared for at all. A lot of like tax law type questions. Like if you do the PA, you would think that you're going to come across a lot of the like just tax liability type questions. And there's a few of those in the OA that I personally took, but there was also a ton of questions on there about just tax law. So as I said about other courses, not all OAs are created equal. Some of them are more challenging and some of them are easier. And if you watch my videos, I probably got quite a few of the easier ones, but this one was definitely one of those ones that it didn't align very well at all with what the PA was. But it is what it is. As I've said, a pass is a pass, and here I am. So now this course does focus a lot stricter on individual tax liability and things like that, more so than business tax, but you still want to learn the business taxation side of it, because it's kind of like how I've said about Excel portions, is like memorize the Excel portions because it's just points. So if you were like me, I studied kind of both of it. So if I would have got 1 or 3 of the business side taxation questions wrong, I would have failed the OA. So it would probably behoove you to learn both sides of it. But I will say that I think it says in the PA 76% or 70 some percent of the questions in the OA and the PA are individual taxation questions. So you really want to focus on that. I should say also that it's important to know that you don't have to memorize the head of household and the married filing jointly and all of the percentages and stuff like that. There's very few things that you actually have to memorize with this course. Like you do need to know about like Social Security percentage. There's a few things like that you have to memorize, but actually in the OA and the PA, they give you a chart of all the different like ways to calculate head of household tax liability and things like that. So you don't actually have to memorize those things. So there's very few things actually in this course that you do have to memorize. I'm trying to remember exactly. I know you had to memorize like the medical expense. You can't go above 7.5% of your gross income. That's one of the things. There's only like 2 or 3 things like that you have to memorize, and the rest of it's given to you in a chart. So that does make things a lot easier. It's been said before, but I'm going to say it again, is that accounting, from my estimation, is a lot more of knowing the formulas and knowing the definitions of things and the laws than it is math. You don't really need to be that good at math to be an accountant or a CPA, apparently. You just got to kind of know how things are done and how the laws work and how the formulas work. So, again, I used a whiteboard and a calculator on this OA, but you don't really write down a whole lot. You don't got to do a lot of like real in-depth formulas or anything like that. It's mostly just like multiplying, subtracting, taking people's liabilities and their itemizations and their deductions and things like that. And once you find out what the formulas are, it's not that bad. But yeah, I really don't have a whole lot else on this course. Just make sure you watch all the videos. Even with me getting a little bit more challenging of AOA, I still think those cohorts were a godsend. All of them were really great and gave you pretty much everything you need to know to pass this course. So, but yeah, that's all I have. The next one I'm moving on to, I think, is cost and managerial accounting. And I only have like 9 weeks left. I'm falling really behind, but it is what it is. I'll get my degree eventually. So, but that's all I have. I'll see you guys on the next one.